So after this, the next Governor General, I think 11th, Lord William Bentinck. Very important, Lord William Bentinck. So from the Governor Generals that we have discussed so far, who all are important? Warren Hastings is important because he is the first one and we have discussed many things. Cornwallis because of police reform, civil service reform, judicial reform, permanent settlement, etc. And then Wellesley for subsidiary alliance, then Minto one for Charter Act of 1813, and then Hastings for the change in policy. Now Lord William Bentinck, and in future we will be discussing about like Dalhousie, Dufferin, Lord Canning, okay, Lord Curzon, Lord Mountbatten, Lord Lytton, Lord Ripon. All these are again going to be very important Governor Generals. So when we discuss about Lord William Bentinck during his time, the main point is one related to anti-Sati resolution. Okay, so 1829 anti-Sati resolution was passed by Lord William Bentinck, and under this Sati was declared as culpable homicide not amounting to culpable homicide not amounting to murder, and a maximum punishment of 10 years of rigorous imprisonment was given for those who instigate the female to commit suicide. Okay, so under this Sati was declared as a culpable homicide not amounting to murder, and a maximum punishment of 10 years of rigorous imprisonment was given for those who instigate or compel the female to commit suicide. Now who was the Indian who was responsible for this or who was behind this? It was Rajaram Mohan Roy. Okay, so Rajaram Mohan Roy was the Indian who was responsible for the anti-Sati resolution, and he did a lot of efforts that we will discuss when we discuss about Rajaram Mohan Roy. In fact, we have seen that his sister-in-law was facing the problem, and he was also able to save few women from the spot with the help of some volunteers, and he faced a lot of problem from the society because you are going against the against the society, against the norms, against the values, against the ethics of the society, and your values are saying different, right? So Sati should not be there. This is what you saying, but you are going against the society. So this is actually a value conflict. This thing we will discuss in ethics. Against this is actually he is going against the value of society. So entire society on one side, and the value of society is something different, and your morality is different. So this situation is what you call as value conflict. And Rajaram Mohan Roy is one example that we are going to discuss when we discuss about ethics in terms of value conflict. But here the point is, he was the Indian who was responsible for this, and 1829 anti-Sati resolution was passed. Sati was declared as culpable homicide not amounting to murder, and 10 years of rigorous imprisonment was given for those who instigate or compel the female to commit suicide. See, the main point here is you can see a lot of socio-religious reforms which has been initiated by British, maybe with the help of Indian. Later again in 1856 you will see Widow Remarriage Act. Who was the Indian responsible for that? Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar. But it was passed by Lord Dalhousie. Okay, and then you will see ban on female infanticide. So a lot of reforms you can see even from women's side also. Ban on human sacrifice was there. Okay, you have seen already related to civil service reform, judicial reform, police reforms, etc. So much of reform, so much of good things was there, and especially these are related to religion. Okay, so after 1857 you cannot see any such developments. Why? Because one of the most important reason for 1857 revolt, when we discuss 1857 revolt, we will discuss the socio-religious reasons. That anti-Sati resolution, it actually angered the upper caste Hindus. Similarly, Widow Remarriage Act also. So the upper caste Hindus started believing or thinking that the Britishers are unnecessarily interfering in their religion. Okay, so if you interfere in the religion at that point of time, it was considered not that good, and that was a major threat for the Britishers in 1857. One of the reasons for 1857 revolt was this interference in religion, and after that 1857 to 1947 you won't see any such level of reforms. No such reforms you can see. These are drastic and radical reforms. It actually improved the life of women totally, right? Anti-Sati resolution, and also widow remarriage act, ban on female infanticide, ban on human sacrifice. All these are connected to religion. So this actually angered the upper caste Hindus, one of the reason. And this Herculean task is now left to the constitutional makers after 1947, and divorce was allowed to female only after the independence. Okay, so it could have been done by the Britishers, but why they did not interfere? Because they understood that if you touch the religion, that is going to create problem. So that is one point that I want to tell you here. Apart from that, we need to discuss about one more point under Lord William Bentinck, that is anti-Thuggee law. Yeah, when we discussed about police reforms, I have told you police reform, the chances are rare that police reform can be asked as an independent question from Lord Cornwallis, but it can be asked as part of law and order. The law and order situation in India is improved drastically during British time. Okay, so this is again a very positive. There you need to talk about police reform firstly, and then you need to discuss about anti-Thuggee law. Who are thugs? Thugs were the armed people, mainly in central part of India. They hide in jungles, and they will loot and they will kill the traders, merchants, etc. They go through the jungle for the trade. Okay, so this was a very big problem at that time, and Britishers passed this law. The William Bentinck passed this law, and they suppressed the thugs. Totally suppressed, and it is actually a very drastic improvement in law and order situation. That's why if you get a question on the law and order situation in India improved drastically, you can talk about police reform, you can talk about anti-Thuggee law, and you can also say some of their policy. Like for example, if the village is allowing a criminal to hide in the village, the entire village will be punished. Those kinds of policies is what they have followed. There was no such tolerance. Okay, so because of that, law and order situation in India improved drastically during British time. This is again one of the positive. So we need to understand one thing, that the British rule in India should not only be seen in terms of negatives. Negatives means looting India. Okay, all those things are there. Okay, drain of wealth, all this economic dimension you can say. But when they went, they left out a lot of infrastructure and a lot of legacy. All this, yeah, we have discussed about civil service reform. Okay, still we are preparing for the same only. Okay, and then railway, huge infrastructure, police reforms. Okay, all these are the positives. So when you're writing an answer, you don't be biased. Without being an Indian or English, you need to be in a position to put the facts objectively into the paper. Okay, so I will give you that perspective, and by completing the discussions, you will be in a position to do that. Okay, so I hope that is clear. Now what we need to discuss is, I've told you already 1813 Charter Act, and for 20 years, the East India Company was allowed to continue in India. Now they can go for the administration, revenue administration, etc. So another 20 years, what will happen will be discussed or announced through another act. So 1833 you will see another act. So this is also Charter Act. So Charter Act of 1833. So here also the same point will be there. Another 20 more years the British, the East India Company will be in India. So what will happen after this 20 years again will be discussed after another 20 years through another act, and you will see 1853 another act will be there. Then also it will be like British allow the East India Company to control the revenue administration till another. But by that time 1857 revolt will come, and 1858 the entire control will be taken by the crown. Okay, so here 20 more years was allowed, not that important, but this point was actually asked as a prelims question before, this 20 more years related case. Okay, now here there are 5 provisions which I want you to remember, 5 important provisions, but it is very easy to remember if you have clear clarity about the 3 different acts that we have discussed so far, or the sessions that we have done so far. If you have clarity about that, all these 5 are going to be very easy. So let me talk about the first one that we have discussed, that is 1773 Regulating Act. What was the main provision? There was a Governor General, and this Governor General became Governor General of India. Okay, now here, no, not Governor General of India, Governor General of Bengal. So Governor of Bengal, right? Not Governor General. Governor of Bengal became Governor General of Bengal. This is what we have discussed in Regulating Act. Now here if you see the first point of Charter Act of 1833, now there is a change from here. The change from here is Governor General of Bengal now become Governor General of India. Now once he become Governor General of India, he becomes superior over all the other governors like Bengal and not Bengal, the Bombay and also Madras. But at this stage I have told you he was not superior. Internal matters there is no say, only in external matters there is some superiority. But now Governor General of India is going to be superior, and the governors of other provinces, other areas, other presidencies have to inform the legal aspects and everything to the Governor General of India. Okay, so everything is now under the control of Governor General of India. So if you see here, the first Governor General of Bengal, who was that? Warren Hastings. Now under the William Bentinck is what we are discussing now. So here the Governor General of Bengal post will be abolished and this post will be set up. So who is going to be the last Governor General of Bengal? Lord William Bentinck, last Governor General of Bengal. Who is the first Governor General of India? Lord William Bentinck. Okay, so William Bentinck is the last Governor General of Bengal and the first Governor General of India. So that first point is easy to remember. Connect it with 73. Then Pitt's India Act 1784, I have told you one point, that Governor General of Bengal plus 4 member was there here, and that was reduced to 3. Now from here there is a change going to happen now. That is your second point. This 3 is now again going to be increased to 4. Governor General of India plus 3 was there, that will be increased to 4. Okay, and this new member is the law member. New member is the law member. Okay, and his duty is basically to advise the Governor General in the matters of law. And the first law member was, I've told you, whenever first something is coming, you need to remember here. When the 4 members were there, I've told you Richard Barwell, Philip Francis, George Monson and John Clavering, right? 4 members. Here, first law member was Lord Macaulay. Lord Macaulay. Okay, so I hope these 2 points are clear from 73 and also from 84. Then what is the next one we have discussed? 1813 Charter Act. In that, one point that we have discussed was related to monopoly, right? So I've told you there were 2 surviving monopoly. Monopoly ended except in 2 items. What was that? Except in trade with China and trade in tea products. Now here 2 surviving monopoly also was taken away. So 2 surviving monopoly also ended. So can you connect this 3 point with the 3 acts that we have discussed so far? If that is possible, then it is going to be very easy with you. Otherwise, if you try to keep on remembering each and every point of the act, it will be, see, it's not your problem. It is impossible to do that. Okay. Now 1793 we have discussed about 2 reforms. 3 reforms or 4 reforms we have discussed, but from that I am taking 2 reform. One was related to judicial reform, the other was related to civil service reform. When I discussed about civil service reform, I have told you at this point of time when it was introduced, Indians were not allowed to enter into civil service. And then at that time itself I have told you in 1833 something is going to happen. Through that Indians were allowed to enter into civil service. But practically it will come only after 1853. But theoretically now here there is a provision that no Indians or no discrimination or no Indian citizen should be denied to enter into civil service. That means no discrimination should be made in the recruitment of civil services on the basis of sex, color, creed, place of birth, etc. So that is related to civil service. So I hope this point is clear. No discrimination with respect to sex, color, creed, place of birth, etc. in the recruitment of civil services. Then when we discuss about judicial reform, I have told you 4 Diwani courts were established by Lord Cornwallis, where Dhaka, Patna, Calcutta and Murshidabad. Now there is a provision that these 4 Diwani courts which were established by Lord Cornwallis were to be abolished and instead high courts to be set up. And later in 1857 you will see high courts were to be set up. We will discuss that, where all the high courts and all which is set up. But understand here there was a provision. So the first 3 points I am taking from the first 3 acts, and I am expecting that you are very clear with these 3 acts. So these 3 points are very clear to you. Then from 1793 judicial reform, civil service reform, if you take, you can get the other 2 points. So, okay, so this is going to be very simple. Just remember like this and then you will not face any problem. Otherwise some 2-3 points are there in the spectrum. You can read, you can understand. I'm not wasting my time to read and explaining that. Okay, so if you're not able to understand that, then better don't take this exam. Those are very easy. There is no need of my help here. Okay, so Do you want me to discuss it again? The 5 points. The first point I'll repeat. The Governor General of Bengal became Governor General of India. Okay. The last Governor General of Bengal will be William Bentinck, and the first Governor General of India will be William Bentinck, because all these are happening under William Bentinck. The Governor General of India plus 3 members became 4. Once again increased to 4. Initially, first it was 4, then reduced to 3, now increased to 4. So if you read the textbooks, what will happen? If you see 1773, it is 4. 1784, it is 3. 1833, it is 4. So you'll be totally confused. But now you know the reason why it was decreased, because of issue with majority. Now why this one is actually law member only. Okay, and the first member is Lord Macaulay. Third, related to Charter Act of 1813, 2 surviving monopolies over. Okay, and then judicial reform, and then civil service reform. There was a 4 Diwani courts which were established by Lord Cornwallis at Dhaka, Patna, Calcutta, Murshidabad were to be abolished, and instead High Court to be set up. Civil service reform, no discrimination should be made in the recruitment of civil services on the basis of sex, color, creed, place of birth, etc. But practically it will come exam and all after 1853. We will discuss that when we discuss about 1853. Okay. Now, during this time, there is one more important context that we need to discuss, or the concept that is related to education. So that is what Macaulay Minute. It is connected to Lord Macaulay that we have discussed. So we will now discuss about Macaulay Minute. Okay. So it is also known as downward filtration theory. Downward filtration theory, or trickle down approach in education. Trickle down means you throw something to top, it will come down. Okay, so let's discuss now. So when we discuss about Macaulay Minute, actually during this time there was a debate which was going on. The debate was between 2 groups. The group is actually Anglicist and Orientalist. So with respect to education in India, okay, higher education in India. So how to give the higher education in India? Anglicists were saying we should give education in English model and English medium. Orientalist again will be divided into 2. They want to give education in Indian model, okay, Eastern model, in vernacular language. Vernacular means local language. Other group Indian model but classical language like Sanskrit, etc. Okay, but finally they won the debate. Anglicist won the debate, and they have decided that they will be giving education in English model and in English medium. But they are not going to give education for all. They are going to give education for few. So here, education for few concept. And this is higher education, not primary, not secondary. Okay, so first they are actually focusing on higher education. This is important, and education for few. So this, what is the criticism? Only education for few. The education for masses is not the responsibility of state. That is a criticism. And again, higher education is given importance, not primary, not secondary. In fact, you should start from primary, then to secondary, then higher, right? But British, what they do is they go the reverse. In the next one, Wood's Dispatch, they focus on secondary. Hunter Commission in 1882, they will focus on primary. Then it will be normal. So instead of going from bottom to top, they're coming from top to bottom. This is actually the criticism. Okay. Now here the other problem is state did not took up the responsibility. So idea is you will teach some section of Indians, hardly 1% of Indians, in English medium and in English medium model. Okay. With the assumption that this few Indians who get education in English model and in English medium will teach the rest of the others in Indian model and in vernacular language. But will that ever happen? No, it will never happen, and it never happened also. And this assumption, this is what you call as trickle down approach. You throw something to top, you educate this, the others will also get the benefit. But in fact, these educated people, they completely cut off from the mainstream society. And in fact, there is a very famous saying that these people became English more than, English. Okay, so they became English more than English themselves. They started changing their dress style, lifestyle, food style, the way you speak. And in fact, they started, speaking the local language in a wrong accent like the way Britishers do. So they were totally cut off from the mainstream society, and that's why this was a failure. Macula Minute was a failure. Firstly, they focused on higher education. Secondly, they gave education for few. And those few, the trickle down concept was never realized. Trickle down means you throw something to top, it will come down. You educate 1%, the rest of the society will be benefited. But it never happened. Okay? So it was a failure. We will discuss what's dispatch in the coming session. So I hope this is clear for all of you. So that's about Lord William Bentinck. Very, very important Governor General. We have discussed about anti-Sadi resolution. We have discussed about anti-Thugi law. We have discussed about 1833 Charter Act. We discussed about Macula Minute. And in 1835, the first medical college was also set up at Calcutta. So these are the main points that you need to remember under Lord William Bentinck. So that's enough for today. We will continue from Monday. No class tomorrow. Weekends I won't generally take, but I have other batches. Any doubt?